2 years ago, there was an Oakland church that specializes in shrooms. It was raided by the cops, since we're talking about raids lately, without any justification. We're gonna get to reasons why. That church is now suing the police and the city for violating their religious rights. What did they raid them about? This unusual church is called the Zide Door Church of Ethnoeogenic Plants. Crazy. So Zide Door Church founder Dave Hodges said the church has 60,000 members who pay $5 a month and give donations in exchange for a sacrament. That sacrament is weed and shrooms.
Yes.
Now this is gonna be a serious form of worship, because this is what they said: you get what can only be described as spiritual visions. I think we can agree to that. You leave your body, you interact with entities that have knowledge they wish to teach you. You can even have a direct experience with God. In fact, the sermons Hodges comes up with while doing high doses of mushrooms were some of his most popular. But he doesn't do those at church because he says, quote, "You need a bed and a bathroom right next to each other." So it's not something that you want to do in public, especially in front of your whole congregation. This is our pastor, Dave. Let's take a picture of him.
Of course, oh man.
Wears while he's preaching the word. So for about a year, the church held on-site services every Sunday at 4:20 p.m., during which Hodges donned his robe and passed out joints. But since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, it has rarely held any services. So he's also still being responsible. He could still go with these other services that want to bowl right through the coronavirus warnings and protections and just spread it anyway. He's thinking, right? More from this. In 2020, Oakland police raided it. This is what happened there. Zide Door Church and took $200,000 worth of cannabis and mushrooms, is what he told Vice News. He said no arrests were made and no one was charged. Now think about this. Weed is legal in California, and Oakland effectively decriminalized shrooms in 2019. I didn't even know that, but it's still not legal to sell them. Again, they give $5 for the church. Yeah. Maybe they get these in turn.
Just a donation.
It's not selling. So in a lawsuit filed in federal court Tuesday, the church said it's seeking damages for the harms it suffered as a result of First and 14th Amendment rights being violated. The church is now seeking a permanent injunction allowing it to operate in Oakland. We've seen other churches talk about it before, and also having the ways that they do things, and it has to be protected by the government, or at least the government has to stay out of the way for religious freedom. Will this fall into it, or is this not an old enough religion where they can actually respect it as this type of thing? There was also the one part of this. Not only was this a stupid excessive steal for weed and mushrooms, but it's also there was a firefighter that was unnecessarily injured in this raid. Let's take a video of the raid. There's no sound on it though, but take a look at him on the right when they're trying to bust in here. The jaws of life versus they're safe as they're trying to get in and break this whole thing up. It's a dangerous situation. You never know exactly how these things could fall apart. And he hits the ground.
Yeah.
Shrooms and weed.
Okay, so let's first of all call this what it is. This is a robbery. It's legal in Oakland to have this material, right? Have the weed and the shrooms. And by the way, they say, "Oh, you're giving out as a sacrament." Well, what do Catholics do? They give out wine. Why is wine any different than weed? It like literally makes no sense to say that it's really different. It's not at all different. Okay, so and the cops don't even charge anyone because they know they're not committing a crime. The cops were just a gang here. A gang busted in, broke their safe, stole $200,000. They kept it, very likely smoked it, and so it was the cops were the criminals. The cops were the robbers. I mean, it's just an absolute robbery. And by the way, this happens all the time. So cops have expanded authority under laws that were passed decades ago that say, "Oh, we're gonna get tough on crime. If there's any crime, we can seize that property. Even if the person is found innocent, even if they're not even charged, they have to go through another process where they lose 95% of the time, even though they didn't even do anything wrong, and the cops get to keep their stuff. So the government lets the cops steal from you. It's an absolute outrage. So that's the not fun part of the story. The fun part of the story is I love this church.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he says, look,
I'm almost done signing up for it right now. I'm finishing my application right here. Pretty excited.
But he says, look, it's a spiritual experience better than you get at any other church. You really gonna argue with that? I mean, think about it.
It's factual.
Yeah, like I've never done the psychedelic drugs.
Oh, we got to have a hang.
Well, we were talking about it the other day. So Netflix has got a documentary on it now, and it's really interesting. It turns out the government was full of crap. Shocking, I know.
Really?
Yeah, because I always grew up thinking LSD is the most dangerous thing in the world, right?
Same.
It turns out LSD is the safest drug. They lied to us. They lied to us.
And lovely.
Okay, so I haven't done it, and I'm not advocating for it. I'm just telling you that the people who have done this apparently relatively safe drug, and that is not addictive, unlike other drugs like heroin and meth and fentanyl and all those crazy drugs that'll really mess you up, right? So the people who do it say they have an out-of-body experience, that they sense things that they hadn't sensed before, and they a lot of them call it spiritual.
Oh yeah.
When you take the sacrament at church, whether it's wine, I mean, on that tiny amount, or the wafer, are you like, whoa, sing the Lord, oh my God, I almost met God? No, but these dudes are meeting God. Yeah. Okay, let him go, let him go.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, if you just compare the two substances, I know it's a little bit of wine only, but wine, a substance that literally makes you inebriated, where you're like, oh, I guess I'll believe whatever. Where should I go? Okay, sure. That's what churches want you to do, is to stop your critical thinking skills and be kind of dumbed down and numbed down. Whereas this church wants you to have your own enlightened experience, a direct connection. Give us $5, we'll give you some mushrooms and go have your own experience with God. Not donate 10% of your money to us so I can buy more gold watches and Movado watches like we talked about on the watch list the other day. A pastor berating his church for not buying him a Movado watch at Sam's Club because to not show how much. That's the values and the experiences being taught to you by mainstream churches. And these guys are giving you a chance to have a truly one-on-one spiritual awakening. Mushrooms, I don't do them often, but the times I've done them in my life, they make you feel connected to the earth. They make you feel connected to humanity. I was just in Amsterdam and I was doing a little bit stronger than microdosing after I got engaged, and I had to go to the restroom. I texted my fiance to check on her. I'm like, are you okay? She goes, I'm just watching people be kind to each other and seeing their common humanity. I'm like, yep, she's good. That's what these drugs do, is they make you, they increase your empathy and your compassion, something that we need so much in religion, in government, in corporate America, in every aspect. I would recommend putting this in, well, I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
Okay, but I'll tell you what though, Ben, to your point, the Family Research Council was recently declared a church. They're actually a lobbying group. They've been a lobbying group for decades. They're based in Washington. Reporters called them and said, hey, when is service? They're like, what service? They're like, don't you pray? And we're like, no. They're like, no, why are you asking? Oh, because technically you're a church. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, we're a church. Yeah, that's what it is. They lobby against gay people and for tax cuts for the rich. It's got nothing to do, but they call that a church.
Kind of is.
Okay, now, well, for them, for Republicans, that is their church, right? But so if that's a church, this is definitely a church. It's not even close. So they're going in to bust down the doors of a church. And by the way, you right-wingers, you should be livid. You should be like, God, right-wingers are so funny, man, in a tragic kind of way. Like if Philando Castile says to a cop, I've got a legal permit to carry a gun, it's in the drawer, I mean, you couldn't be more polite. You couldn't be more legal with your Second Amendment rights. They shoot him dead. The right-wingers are like, who cares? Like, wait, what? That's like your poster child for don't shoot, I've got Second Amendment rights, right? Yep. And they just murdered him on the spot for having a legal weapon, right? Right-wingers don't care at all. He's black. Who cares? Who cares? You bust down a church, the right-wingers, Fox News should be going nuts. I can't believe, defund the FBI, defund the Oakland police, right? And they're like, it's a church that we don't agree with. Yeah, bust them down, steal our property, who cares?
Yeah, not to mention, I feel like it's about time. I don't know that we should, I'm a little on the fence whether we should tax all religious organizations from $1, but we should probably for sure start taxing them once they have windfall profits, because then you're also gonna stop a lot of this corruption as well. People taking in billions and billions of dollars from their middle class members, from their poor and disadvantaged members, and that's okay. They can go and buy themselves more gold doorknobs and gold entryways to their private residence. That needs to be regulated.
Yeah, and look, we're fair. I would tax the living crap out of Kenneth Copeland and Creflo Dollar and all their private jets and stuff that they have, right? But I'd also tax these dudes in Oakland. I mean, you're gonna sell weed, you're gonna make money. Let's get some tax on that, right? And the only thing that talked me out of doing any of these drugs is when the guy's like, well, you need a bedroom and a bathroom and they need to be really close to one another. I'm like, Jason, what happened?
That's not really
That was my next question. I said, were you close in Amsterdam to a bed and a bathroom?
I was, but you don't need to be. You don't need to be. Okay. I also venture out sometimes, you know?
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.